Hey, Jeff, I do want to bring up, we were talking a little bit earlier about what's $1 billion and trying to put that in perspective, a few things.
Yeah.
Did you see that just on the Metrosource here this morning, two European banks are suing two American financial firms for nearly $1 billion over losses related to that mortgage-backed securities issue. So one of them is Countrywide, being sued for $455 million.
There is no Countrywide anymore.
Well, they're suing Countrywide Financial. And another company is suing Merrill Lynch for about $527 million. So that just came out this morning.
I think those are both B of A now.
Well, so B of A's got a new $1 billion suit coming to him.
Yeah, I'm almost positive both those are B of A.
I want to talk a little bit about $1 billion and put that in terms of relative terms.
Yeah, there's a lot of things with $1 billion going on today, isn't there?
There is.
A couple articles you had. So I found it. So I'll give you a little background. We had a trip that was kind of a reward trip, if you will, at our company at Comstock Mortgage, which likes to thank and reward its good top producer loan agents. And I was fortunate enough to go on that trip. So we did a little cruise, and which is some fascinating areas. For one, I've never been to Florida in my life. And so the cruise starts out in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is the weather was perfect. I'm told that in the summer it can get a little steamy there, but when I was there, it was in the 80s and sunny and light breeze coming in, and it was a phenomenal week. But we had a chance to. So when you come into Fort Lauderdale, where we stayed, which was right kind of this hotel kind of on the bay because it's close to the port. And the Fort Lauderdale port, there's a lot of things of this trip that were very interesting to me. The Fort Lauderdale port holds the record for number of cruise ships ever docked at one time, which was 15, which that'll never happen again because the ships have gotten so ginormous. In fact, while we were there, I think it's the Oasis of the Sea. It's the largest cruise ship in the world was docked there as they were getting ready to leave. And there was the day we left, Nick. We were 120 people short of setting the record for that port of 50. Think about this: 53,000 people boarding cruise ships on one day. Usually they go out on a Saturday. So 53,000 people all going on a cruise. Where are these people going? I mean, it just amazes me where all these people are heading out. But so 53,000 people roughly all leaving on cruise ships that day out of the harbor. But before I left, the day before, we took a little water taxi cruise through one of the most unbelievable areas that I've ever been in. And it was the port and what they call it the Florida Riviera, if you will, of Fort Lauderdale. And what you do is you take this water taxi, and the person who's driving the boat kind of gives you a little narrative, kind of like a tour of the stars, if you will, in Southern California on a bus. You're going on a water taxi. Now, let me read to you. And these are the ones I could remember. Okay, I sat down and typed them out. These are the either individuals or the companies that I can remember. These are the people's houses I passed, or their yachts that I went by, or both. Okay, and this is in an area. Think of Cal Expo. Okay, the whole of the grounds, everywhere from the horse racing track out to the parking lot in the dirt. Just that big circle. That's about the size of the area I'm talking about. Not a huge area, but a big block, if you will. And these are the individuals who we came across or went by their property or their boats within this little tour. The biggest boat out there was Steven Spielberg's. I use the term boat. 280-foot yacht, $200 million yacht sitting there. And I am the biggest capitalist you'll ever meet. And I say if you want to take your money out in the back parking lot of Sports 1140 and smoke it, burn it, or flush it, you go right ahead. It's your money. But $200 million boat sitting there getting crapped on by a bunch of birds is an awful lot of money sitting around doing nothing. I mean, you take a look at the cost. We were talking about the guy about the cost of, and I'm digressing now because there were so many things going through my head. The cost of keeping one yacht stored is $10 per foot per day, just to tie it there. Okay, so that's $2,800 a day, and that's if it doesn't move. Okay, I digress. 200.
Okay. Now I need to back up for a second.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a guy that has a 22-foot boat that you pay $150 a month to store it in a boat storage unit. You wash it, you insure it, and you use it 8-10 times a year.
No question.
Okay, shut up, idiot, and continue with your story.
But
Go ahead.
I don't think the percentages are the same.
Yeah, everything's relative. Okay, you got to understand that.
So a $22,000. So I don't know how much Steven Spielberg is worth, and it doesn't matter to me. I don't know. You don't hear him listed as a billionaire. He probably is, but let's say he's a billionaire. Okay, $1 billion. A $200 million boat is 1/5 of his net worth.
Okay, you're assuming he paid cash, and that it has
doesn't
no
matter.
value.
He owes the money. So 1/5 of net.
He bought it for $200 million. He's going to keep it for 2 or 3 years until he's bored. He'll sell it for $180 million.
To whom?
Whoever.
To who? So anyway, I that's not the purpose of my story.
I digress.
I digress.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
So behind Steven Spielberg's yacht was Oprah's yacht.
Okay.
Behind Oprah's yacht was Judge Judy's yacht. Let me tell you what, folks. Judge Judy makes a boatload. First of all, Judge Judy is the #1 TV personality on daytime TV right now, if you don't know that. And number 2, that job pays pretty well, better than it ever did at the Judge. So those were the 3 boats there. Then across, hey, Chris, who's the guy that who's the Russian billionaire that owns the Nets? The New York Nets. Do you remember his name?
Prokhorov?
Yeah, Prokhorov. So his yacht was across from Spielberg's, and next to that was the guys that own Monster.com. So now we're talking about in a 150-foot radius. This is just the start of the tour. So here we go. Here's the people that went by. Yankee Candle. Have you ever heard of Yankee Candle? You ever heard of Yankee Candle?
No.
Well, there's a lot of money in candles. They had a big yacht there. Elle Magazine, ELL Magazine, the mayor of New York City, Staples, Ritz, Camera, Hendrick Motorsports, Sunglass Hut. The lady who started Sunglass Hut has the single largest house in the area, 30,000 square foot for her and her husband. Interesting. Hendrick Motorsports. I won't give this one out because this is my quiz question. Jay Leno, the owners of Kohl's, Papa John's, Wendy's from Wendy's Hamburgers, Merv Griffin, his old house, Firestone Corporation, Lee Major's old house, Otis Elevator, Lucille Ball, the Wells Fargo family, Johnny Depp. I mean, this is all in one block of individuals. It was a phenomenal testament to what can be achieved in this country. And here's the story I like the best. And then we're going to take a break. So there's a house out there so there's kind of like this bay, okay? Then all these fingers where all these houses were. And out in the bay, there's a house they call the Florida White House because it looks like a miniature version of the White House. And the gentleman that owns it, God bless him, is 80 years old and blind. And he has a 32-year-old wife. If you can get it, you can get it. Now, this gentleman worked for General Motors. And you ask yourself, how on earth, this house is $35 million easy. How on earth does a guy working for General Motors have a $35 million house and a 32-year-old wife and he's blind? Well, he happened to invent this little clutch that goes in the air conditioning unit of General Motors vehicles that kind of turns the air conditioning on and off as part of the operation of the vehicle. And General Motors back in the past said, well, thank you very much because we own that. And he said, well, thank you very much. You don't own that. I developed that. And so he sued General Motors. It took him about 8 years. And he won the lawsuit. And his settlement was $2.50
per unit
for every General Motors car produced ever with an air conditioning unit. And now he is 80 years old and lives in the Florida White House with a 32-year-old wife. And here's the part that'll blow you away. He's got this gigantic yacht behind him, of course, because you have to. And the rule in Fort Lauderdale is if you have a yacht crew who doesn't, your yacht crew cannot stay on the boat while they're maintaining the yacht. So our 80-year-old blind gentleman bought the house next door to him, tore it to the ground, built a miniature version of the White House and put his crew in the house next door. That, folks, is real money. And we're going to take a quick break. This is Talkin Money. My name is Jeff Tarbell. We have some Sierra at Tahoe ski passes if you want to get in there. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you want to pick them up before the show ends today at 11, you can get your ski or your snowboard on this weekend. And who is the #1 state on the suckers list for Lotto jackpot losers. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 44-1140. My name's Jeff Tarbell. This is Talkin Money. We'll be right back.